Before we get to our mock draft, guys, I want to remind everybody to go follow us on social media. All of our handles are right here on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And I want to give a special shout out to Taylor Sommers, I think is how I'm pronounce that. They are in our 0.4% of viewers on YouTube. They've watched 396 of our videos.
I didn't know that was such a thing.
So YouTube's Rewind. So big shout out to Taylor, and big shout out to anybody that has us in their Spotify Wrapped, YouTube Rewind, and I think Apple does one as well. So huge shout out to all the support that you guys give us.
Yeah, we got tagged in a bunch of the Spotify, Apple, and YouTube Wraps yesterday, and genuinely, like, it gives me chills knowing that we're that part of someone's life, and it means the absolute world to us. I'm not being facetious whatsoever. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for allowing us to be part of your daily routine, and it means the world to us. So thank you. And if you have us in your Spotify Wrapped, Apple Wrapped, YouTube Wrapped, whatever they call it, tag us. We'll retweet it. We'll like it, and we appreciate you guys from the bottom of our hearts.
They've watched how many videos?
It just tells you of the whatever audience that watched a UCSS video or listened to the podcast on Spotify. You're in the top whatever percentile.
So this guy,
they're P1s.
Yeah, they're the OGs. They're the day ones. They listen to everything we do, and we can't say thank you.
I don't know.
Loudly
The bottom of my heart. Where did that expression come from? Is the bottom of your heart?
We're going to find out right now.
Steve Becker will text us in about 23 seconds.
Oh, yeah,
with the Grok answer.
We'll ask Grok. That's
What's up, Zach?
Steve Becker.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's talk a little mock draft.
So Dane Brugler, who's one of the good mock draft guys out there, although
friend of the show too.
Yeah, is he?
He's been on 4 times.
He's been on 4 times.
Yeah. I think if you're more than a 3-time guest, you're a friend.
Become a friend
Friend of the show. Yeah.
This goes back to the 1500s, man.
Really? What does it mean?
It originated from ancient beliefs that the heart was the center of emotions.
Yeah.
And the bottom represents the deepest, most sincere feelings. It was earliest documented use in English was from the 1500s. There, Bull.
Who knew?
But it has roots going back to all the way to the Virgil's Roman epic poem, way back in the day. How about that?
Who knew?
Yeah.
All right,
from the bottom of my heart.
There it is. There's more love in the bottom of the heart. So it makes sense, Mike. All right. So now we're in this situation because of mock drafts. The whole Shedeur Sanders situation is solely because of mock drafts and because of the groupthink in some of these mock drafts. But Dane is one of the best guys at doing this, and he put out a mock draft. I don't know if it was his first of the offseason.
It was his first of the offseason.
Yeah.
He
said
not
of the offseason,
it's super early. This is just at this point. This is what I think will happen.
Yeah. And he had in his mock draft, because he has the Titans and the Giants finishing with the 2 worst records. Both those teams don't need a quarterback, or they may, but they're not going to draft a quarterback this year. And so he had them trading with the Browns. He said it would take their 2 first-round picks. And then he said a second-round pick in 2026. Now, that doesn't seem like a crazy amount to give up. I don't know that it wouldn't take more than that.
Depends on the bidding war.
I mean, to move up 4 spots, all you're giving up is pick 26 and a 2027 second-rounder. If you're convinced that Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore are the next top 10 quarterback in the league, that's a no-brainer that you would do that.
Well, if you look at what the Browns got from the Jaguars to move back from 2 to 5, which is incredibly simple. 1 to 5, 2 to 5. I understand for quarterback versus not a quarterback, that's a huge difference. Which does play a difference in the price you pay. That's essentially the price Jacksonville paid to move.
Yeah,
up
I think the Browns would have to give up more. But
I agree. I'm just saying, like for comparison's sake, it was an extra first and a second. Obviously, in this year, it's a different year.
It doesn't matter in the end. You're going to give up if you think Fernando Mendoza is the next top quarterback, you're going to give up whatever it takes to get him.
And Brugler did have the Browns taking Mendoza in this,
right?
And Dante Moore going number 2.
Yeah.
To the Vegas Raiders, who traded up with the Giants in his mock draft.
Now, in his Dane Brugler's analysis was, well, neither of these guys, he didn't have them as a superstar, but that they're very. His comparison for Fernando Mendoza was Jared Goff and Kirk Cousins. To me, that's not good enough that I'm trading all this. Although I think there's a difference between Jared Goff and Kirk Cousins. I like Goff a little more, but
I've heard Matt Ryan as another comparison for Mendoza. What would you, if Matt Ryan was the guy you were getting, is that worth the first overall pick?
Sure.
Well, it's more than the first overall pick.
Well, but is that a quarterback you'd be willing to trade up to get if you were getting Matt Ryan?
Will he have Matt Ryan's career?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If Matt
then
Ryan,
I would do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
100%.
I would do that. Yes, but there's a difference between Matt Ryan and Goff and
fully.
Cousins.
I'm just saying that was the other guy who I've
Yeah.
seen compared to Mendoza a
Yeah.
lot.
Do
And
we have Matthew Stafford? Can I take Matthew Stafford?
Yeah, who
gonna be-
knows what they'll turn into?
Yeah.
But
And by the way, those other
Yeah.
guys, Goff and who's the other one you mentioned?
Cousins.
Kirk Cousins.
Cousins. I mean,
I'm not trading 3 first round picks for one of those guys. I wouldn't.
sure you would.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, you would.
Cousins, no.
Cousins was an unbelievable quarterback and just didn't get over the hump because he probably didn't have enough around him, didn't have a great deep. Like, he was good enough.
I mean, they
to-
had a pretty good defense.
Dude,
he had a good back there.
He lost to Daniel
had Justin
Jones in the
Jefferson at the
playoffs.
end, like later in his career, later in his time.
I'd take Kirk.
I think
Cousins
Kirk Cousins
was
is
an
an
awesome player.
above-average quarterback to me.
I'm with you on this one.
I mean, I like Goff. Goff is like borderline. I would do it for a Matt Ryan career. I'm just not sure you can win a Super Bowl with Jared Goff.
He made it
I
to
guess
one.
we'll see.
I mean, he
Made it
did
to
make
2?
it.
No, one.
One,
With
yeah.
the Rams. Yeah,
With the Rams.
I mean, if you can win a Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts, you can win a Super Bowl with Jared Goff.
Is Jared Goff better than Jalen Hurts?
They're different players,
Yeah.
is the point. But I'm saying, like, no one would have said Jalen. If Jalen Hurts hadn't won the game last year,
Right.
you'd be saying, well, you can't win
win-
a Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah, it's
so. The Eagles do have more, or at least last year had more talent.
Especially
around him.
the way he's playing this year, you'd be like, shit,
Yeah, he's been playing
that was
terrible.
a one-off.
Yeah.
So the question I want to
I
ask you
could be
two.
talked into Jared Goff, not Kirk Cousins.
The question I wanted to ask you two,
Yeah.
based off what Brugler had, and we
Yeah.
pull up the full mock 1 through 10 real quick, just so everyone is playing off the
Guarantee
same
you
rules here.
80% of our fan base would not make this trade.
I bet you it's 95% of the fan
No,
base
it's
would
not.
make the
Actually, it's
trade.
lower than that. We're both wrong. Because we're just thinking of the Shedorians only.
Well, I'm saying if we put a poll up in our
Yeah.
sphere,
Yeah.
it'll be 95%.
Nah, it won't.
I
won't.
bet you will. And
I'm on it.
Put it up.
Put
But
it
the mock draft ended up going Mendoza 1,
More.
Dante Moore 2, which were both trade
And
ups.
then back-to-back Buckeyes.
They had 5 Buckeyes in the top 20, by the way. Arvell Reese 3, Carnell Tate 4, Kedrick Falk, the defensive end from Auburn, going to the Titans at 5.
Yeah.
Then 6 through 10, you had Reuben Bain, defensive end, Washington. Jordan
Yeah.
Tyson, brother of Jalen Tyson.
Yeah,
Yes.
Happy birthday day belated to Jalen Tyson. David Bailey, the defensive end from Texas Tech. Spencer Fano, the first offensive
Oh,
tackle off
that's
the board.
unfortunate. Caleb Downs.
And Caleb Downs going to Cincinnati.
That's not
Boy,
good.
you would
You'd love
hate
to have
that.
him.
No, but if the Bengals draft him, he's going to be every Bengals draft defensive player turns to crap. So if
So
they
you know it'd
draft
be
him,
a
it's
fan.
going to ruin his career.
But with all the needs the Browns have from
Yeah.
a roster standpoint, specifically offensively, they need tackles, they need receivers, they
That's
need
irrelevant.
guards, they need centers.
Irrelevant.
Do you think, and I'll give you my answer after, I want to hear what
Everybody's
you guys think
flipping
first.
out because I'm saying irrelevant. Not that those things are irrelevant.
Do you think
Yeah.
that it is worth the price to pay to move up to get a quarterback when you have those other holes to fill?
Those other needs to me are a non-factor in this decision. You either think that quarterback's a franchise quarterback or he's not. If he is, those things you figure out other ways. If he isn't, then of course you don't make that trade. That's it. I mean, what do you think?
I
I can find other ways to get tackles and guards and
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
do you think that guy gives you a chance? Number one, the chance to make the playoffs first.
Yeah, right,
I mean,
right, right.
Our expectations are win the Super Bowl. Have we watched what we've seen for the last decade in Cleveland? Like, dude, come on. The bar isn't that high.
well, I hear you, but it needs to be. If you're going to make a trade like this, it's got to be with a high bar in mind.
Sure, but it's not. You can't just pinpoint a guy and be like, that guy can win a Super Bowl.
No, I hear you.
You know what I mean?
But does he give you a chance?
Yeah.
If you think the guy has a chance to be, forget winning a Super Bowl. Does this guy have a chance to be top 10, top 12?
All right. So
yeah.
before Matt Stafford won a Super Bowl,
Yeah.
would you have said that guy's a franchise quarterback?
I always thought he was held back by the Lions.
Okay.
So yes, I would have. Obviously, he's gotten even better with the Rams. He's gone
Yeah.
from like
You probably would have felt differently when he was in Detroit, but still, that guy is a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer.
He's a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah.
right.
And a Hall of Fame quarterback before he won the Super Bowl, by the way.
Yes.
I mean, regardless. Point being, it's very difficult to win a Super Bowl. It's difficult to even get to a Super Bowl. Joe Burrow got there already.
Yeah.
And we love Joe Burrow. Can somebody be of that ilk? Then absolutely, you give up whatever it takes
Whatever.
for
Doesn't-
that play.
it doesn't matter what you
It doesn't
need.
matter.
You find other ways
I
to
mean,
do it.
I can go back. We were wrong.
Yeah.
But at the time, we thought Carson Wentz gave the Browns a chance. Then they traded the picks away, and
Right.
then he went to Philly, and he was really good for a minute. Then just whatever happened
Yeah.
there. But point being, I think the Browns probably at that point should have taken Carson Wentz because I thought he could give him that. Now, obviously, it's been proven otherwise, but no. Any of these guys, Mendoza, Dante Moore.
He had Simpson going back to school in this scenario.
I read something really good about Simpson or saw something.
People love Simpson.
Yeah, I like him too.
It's just a matter of whether it comes out. I'm 100% with lockstep with you, Bull. If you think that either Mendoza or Moore can be your franchise pillar at quarterback, you make the move. Now, I'm not 100% convinced. I haven't done my studies yet. I haven't dove into the tape on both those guys. I don't know how I feel on either one yet, if they're worthy of that level of commitment. But if the Browns believe that either Mendoza or Moore can be the guy, then you do everything in your power to go get him.
That's it.
And then you figure out the rest later. And we'll use the Titans as an example real quick. Cam Ward, if you look at just the statistics, Cam Ward's numbers are horrific this year. He has 7 touchdown passes in 12 games. He's been sacked 48 times. He looks lost.
Yeah.
If you go back and actually watch some of the throws he makes, you can see that there's something special in Cam Ward. And on a game-by-game basis, there may only be 2 or 3 plays a game, and he was horrific last week, by the way. He was horrific. I played him in fantasy. It was the worst decision I made all year. That's why I lost by 60 points.
What were you thinking?
I didn't like Brock Purdy against the Browns defense. I thought he had a better chance coming off a good game. But my point is,
if you bet on this game this weekend, you'll be holding your breath every time these quarterbacks drop back to pass. Both quarterbacks.
My point is, Cam Ward has shown flashes that you could say, okay, we can build around this guy.
Yeah.
Now we have the next couple of years while he's on a rookie contract to figure out his receivers, to figure out the offensive line, which it sucks, and we'll talk about that in a sec.
The Titans' talent on offense is worse than the Browns.
We can figure that out, but we have the guy to start it, which is the quarterback.
Yeah.
If you don't have the quarterback, you can have good weapons. Look at Minnesota. Jordan Jefferson, Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson, Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason's a pretty damn good stable of weapons. J.J. McCarthy's been an objective failure this year.
Yeah.
Max Brosmer was an absolute travesty at quarterback last year. Carson Wentz was in and out, and guess what? They still beat the Browns. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it just – but they have –
essentially JJ's rookie year.
Yeah, they have the weapons.
No,
and I'm not saying forever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not saying McCarthy can't be good or whatever, but I'm saying right now they have weapons and no quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
They have a terrible offense that just somehow put together a game-winning drive against the Browns in London. You look at other teams that have good weapons and have no quarterback. You need the quarterback. And I understand that they have holes and the questions about left tackle and receiver.
Everywhere.
It's valid. Like, those are all valid.
You can't solve all the problems at once. If you have a chance to get a quarterback, you get a quarterback in the conversation.
I could not agree more.
That's it.
I could not agree
Yes,
more.
they have to fill other holes. You fill them with the second-round pick, the first-round pick next year, free agency. You know, and if you say, well, the Browns are going to screw it up anyway, well, then it doesn't matter. So then what's the difference?
I'm in I hate agreeing with you because I like to argue with you, but in this sentiment, I'm in lockstep.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. So, I don't know. What do you think of Fernando Mendoza?
I mean, having a conversation with Bull?
It's
always an argument.
That's a good point.
All right, what do you think of Fernando Mendoza? How much have you seen?
Tell you at midnight on Saturday. I've watched him. Well, I watched him play at Cal last year. I watched him play this year about 3 games. I watched him play Penn State. I watched him play Oregon. Bits and pieces of some other games. A little bit of that Purdue game on Friday.
Is he the best? Do you like him better than Moore and Simpson?
I'll tell you at midnight on Saturday. I want to see him against the Buckeyes defense.
Yeah.
I mean, I like him. I think he's a really good player.
Has he played against any good defenses?
Penn State and Oregon.
Oregon, Penn State, yeah. And, I mean, if you want to count some other Big Ten schools as decent defenses, sure, but
I like that they talk about, and again, they said some of these things about Dillon Gabriel, too, but they talk about how he's
super smart.
Very smart.
Yeah.
I want my quarterback to be smart, right?
He
it's an important trait.
Did you guys see the clip he did with Urban Meyer?
No.
And I'm going to send you a clip. We could actually, it's one of the few things we could actually play. Hold on.
If it's on Twitter,
teach him how to feel up a teenage girl?
Stop.
Am I stating facts? I mean, feeling up teenage girls.
Who?
Urban Meyer. Remember that video?
Teenage girls?
Or 20-year-olds, whatever.
Well, there's a big
I have
difference.
A funny story about that.
When you're as old as him, is it really
teenager makes it sound like you're a pedophile.
Well, I mean, if you're touching college students and you're the football coach and you're in your 60s, it's a little. That's
okay. That could be a little odd, but it's not against the law.
No, fair. Yeah, you're right.
Do you like, from what you've seen, do you like Dante more than Fernando Mendoza? No, because the sentiment was Moore was going to come back to Oregon. Yeah. But his offensive coordinator just accepted the head coaching job at Kentucky.
So why does he go to Kentucky?
Well, he's not going to transfer from Oregon to Kentucky.
No. Because Dan Lanning is his guy. He's going to stay at Oregon.
All right.
Or come out.
And Oregon will have the next hottest thing being their offensive coordinator next year.
It's coming. I like Mendoza. I'm concerned, and once again, I haven't done my full dive yet. Mendoza feels like he's got a pretty high floor, I just don't know what the ceiling is. If you're going to trade up and take a guy 1-1 overall,
yeah,
he's got to have a ceiling that is, and maybe he does, and I don't see it yet. Maybe
he wasn't great last year, right?
He was on a bad Cal team. He was good. People talked about him as a first-round pick coming into the season.
Had that. Didn't they have like a crazy win? Was it against Stanford
last year?
Yeah.
He had one game where he had monster. Yeah.
What are his measurables? Like
he's pretty big.
He's a big kid.
Big dude.
He just reminds me of Kirk Cousins. I think he looks like too much like.
He does look like Kirk Cousins. Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't like Kirk Cousins enough.
That's part of the reason why I don't. I mean, I think Kirk's good.
Yeah. Good. Yeah.
Good. Like very good. I think you could have won. I mean. Playoffs, yes. Super Bowl, everything's got to go your way to win a Super Bowl, dude.
Yes, that's
Injuries
true.
on the team, like everything's got to go your way.
But the better the quarterback, the less the talent around them has to be great.
I think so.
Right?
I think so. But the funny thing is Mahomes is the best player in football, and they're a 500 team.
Is he? Well, he hasn't played the best this year.
Wouldn't you say he's the best quarterback in the NFL?
I'd say overall of the last few years, yes, but not. I don't think he's. I think Matthew Stafford's playing better than him right now.
Sure, but okay, so that it changes on a day-to-day basis or a week-to-week basis?
I don't know about a day-to-day basis, but I mean a yearly basis. Don't you think Stafford's playing better than Mahomes?
Currently, yes.
Yeah. Stafford's been the best quarterback in football.
But yes, the point,
you're asking me over the last 5 years who's the best quarterback? Yes.
You're sort of making my point because Mahomes, as great and much of a transcendent talent, right? They're mediocre.
Yeah, well, the Bengals were mediocre last year with Burrow playing the whole season last year, and the Bills aren't playing great. You know.
So the point is, it just that one player doesn't guarantee you.
Of course not, but it sets you up with a floor that you're not doing this where you win in 3 games.
Right, and that's also the reason why if you got somebody of the Kirk that was Kirk Cousins and that was it, a mold of Kirk Cousins, the Browns would not be winning 3 games a year.
No,
they'd be 9-10 a year.
Right. Yeah, but if you have a Kirk Cousins, you got to also get it right around them.
Sure,
like, he's not carrying the team.
If we had like prime Kirk Cousins with this team, we'd be the favorites to win the Super Bowl right now. With this team? With this defense?
No.
Well, maybe a couple, maybe a different receiver.
Maybe the 2023 Browns with Kirk Cousins when you had Amari Cooper who was still confident.
Maybe not the favorites to win the Super Bowl, but they'd probably be winning this division right now.
They'd have a chance.
If they had a halfway competent offense, even with their weapons this year, they'd be division
Cousins
favorites.
with Judkins and even these slappies on the outside, he'd probably find a way to get the ball to him.
Part of the reason Judy sucks this year is because the quarterback play. That factors in. I know it's easy to just pile on him.
It plays a role, but it's not the reason.
It plays a role. I mean, the guy even in Denver was a decent wide receiver.
Yeah.
He was a serviceable wide receiver. He's been crazy bad this year. It doesn't fit with the rest of his career. You got that video, Anthony?
A social news desk will not let me put anything.
We got nothing
today,
on social.
So, Mike, you're gonna have to describe it.
It's just he was on the Triple Threat podcast that Urban Meyer does.
Yeah.
And Urban asked him to break down some sequence. And he did it off memory, kind of like, Sean McVay does that sometimes. Yeah. And Urban's face is Fernando Mendoza is reciting every defensive player's movement. He's like.
So Urban was very impressed by Mendoza.
Urban.
It's hard to impress Urban.
If Mendoza plays great against Ohio State, win or lose, even if let's say it's Ohio State wins 28-24, Mendoza plays great, but Ohio State.
I can't believe the spread's only 4.5. It's come down.
Yeah.
I mean, they did go to Oregon and beat Oregon
ESPN's
in Oregon.
Analytics that does the simulations on the game has it as a 50-50 prediction.
That's not right. It's just
not right. Mendoza, do they have any 5-star talent besides him?
We need Tyvis Powell here because he knows their Indiana roster inside and out.
It's a couple of guys that at least I know, and this is honestly from watching 2 games and also playing the college football game to see some of the rankings. But their running back, Roman Hemby, was a transfer from Maryland. He's one of the highest recruited transfer running backs in the country. They have a defensive end, Mikhail Kamara, something like that, who was another highly recruited transfer.
Alvin's brother.
No, I mean maybe actually. I don't know.
Making that up.
And they have one defensive back that followed Signetti from JMU.
Pond.
Who's D'Angelo Pond, who's going to be a 2nd-round draft pick, 3rd-round draft pick.
Signetti's a cocky son of you know what.
I would say confident.
Yeah.
He's backed it up.
A little arrogant at times, but he's backed. But he's backed it.
First
12-0 team ever in Indiana history.
I hear you.
They've lost 2 games
to win 12 games in Indiana.
You're right.
At Indiana, yeah.
Fair.
Number 2 in the country.
They got smoked in the playoffs last year.
We're talking about this year, Adam.
Okay.
He took over last year and had Indiana, who was an absolute disaster.
I don't want to sit here and stroke the guy.
Yeah.
Because because they're playing the Buckeyes this week. But what he did last year, and then to come back the next year after you lost the quarterback.
Now you got to win when it matters. Now you got to win when it matters.
Oh, they need to win. They need to win.
They need to win the playoff game.
I don't. Well, whatever. Knock on wood. I hope.
Last year Ohio State spanked them.
Yeah.
At home.
Yeah.
Right.
At home.
Right. What do you think the crowd's going to be for this game?
50-50.
55.
It's in Indiana.
55-45 Indiana.
Not at their home stadium.
2.5 hour drive from Columbus, dude.
Right. And we know Ohio State fans travel better than any fan base.
Yeah.
It'll maybe even a little bit more Buckeyes, but they'll have a good.
But it won't
crowd.
be a huge advantage.
Well, the other thing too is a lot of times the Big Ten title game when it's in Indy doesn't always sell out. I mean, there's usually tickets available because, like, let's say it was
Iowa, Minnesota,
Purdue, Ohio State.
Yeah, but with Ohio State in it.
Yeah, but still, like they're not like if Ohio State were playing Purdue.
Yeah.
It's not. People aren't driving to Indy to watch that
but
game.
For this game, both teams undefeated.
No, the game's sold out.
Yeah,
there won't be a seat to be had.
Right.
But the point is, there will be a good contingency of Indiana fans.
Yeah.
We're going to do a little more preview of the Indiana game tomorrow.
Good.